What's up to Lion Talk Live? We love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's going on, Coach Dan at Lions Talk Live and the Duke Crew? This is Ball Hawk Ifata Malafanu of the Detroit Lions. Everybody make sure you help support the YouTube channel Lions Talk Live by clicking that like and subscribe button. Let's get it and go Detroit.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live and Coach Dan by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton, and I want to thank you all for joining us here today. Lions Talk Live. You know, I think we've got a little bit of a topic that's come out for you guys all have some fun with and debate today. Yes, it is going to be a boxing match between the haves and the haves not. The I love Jared Goff and I hate Jared Goff. Whatever you're going to say, whatever you're going to do, try to be respectful. Try to have some fun with it. And yes, don't talk poorly about anybody's mama. Whatever it's going to be, we'll get into that during the main topic of the day. We'll also probably analyze it with everybody in the Duke Crew comment section. And yes, it is Friday, so we've got Kurt the Hitman Steele joining us halfway through the show. So let's get into it. If you haven't yet subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. Making that march for 13,500 subs. We are 14 subs away. If you can help out with that, that would be great. So if you have a half second of time, go ahead and reach on down, hit that subscribe button. Also, while you're sitting around enjoying the channel, maybe consider hitting that thumbs up, that like button, hit all the buttons while you're at it, because we try to get every episode of the show between 1, 2, 3, 400 or more thumbs up or likes. So if you can help out, I would be most thankful. Last but never least, if you are maybe considering buying or selling property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, let alone the continental United States, give me a call or shoot me a text. You see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. Been in the industry for over 30 years, so if you need somebody who's going to help you either buy, say, a survival shelter, vacant land, a new house, an old house, commercial property, anything real estate related, go ahead and reach out to me. Again, you see the number on the screen, 269-998-2384. All right, with all that done, said, out of the way, let's get this show a rocking and a rolling and a going and get into the first topic before we get into the main topic, and that is, as you know, 5 headlines now. All right, 5 glorious headlines now by the numbers, defining stats for each Lions free agent signing, SI.com by Christian Boer. So by the numbers, we're going to dive into this real quick. We're not spend on a lot of stuff on each of these guys just because I think the main topic is going to be a little bit more spicy than normal today, so we're going to have more time for that. DJ Reed, 18% forced incompletion rate, signing a 3-year deal worth $32 million guaranteed. Reed is being paid like a potential number 1 cornerback. With his veteran experience and ability, he is likely should ascend to the top spot on the depth chart right away. We all get it. Reed was brought in for a purpose, and yes, some of it was because Carlton Davis left. The other part, you're hearing more and more people across the media, and national media, that is, not YouTube media or whatever, saying that Reed might have been the number 1 free agent out there across the NFL. The Lions might have struck gold with it. With how we're perceiving the Lions will continue to play defense, he might have been the best fit out there. And not that Carlton Davis wasn't good, but Reed actually might be a little bit better. Roy Lopez, 17 career tackles for losses. That's correct. He was brought in for a purpose to help beef up the depth on that defensive line. And one thing we can say about Lopez, he shreds blockers and he gets into the backfield. We get it. The Lions have been run on at times during the playoffs, and a lot of that was because of injuries. Lopez, though, brought in, he might be a big win for the Lions. Underrated signing. Grant Stewart, 1,267 career special team snaps. Yes, special teams aren't as impactful as they once were. Yes, the Detroit Lions value it probably more than most NFL teams. Stewart, I don't think he's going to ever be a standout on the defensive side of the ball, but on special teams, he may become an ace. Kenny Yarbrough, 48.4 Pro Football Focus run blocking grade in 2024. What do the Detroit Lions want to do? They want to run the ball. What do they also want to do? They want to run the ball well enough where they set up play action pass. Yes, that was true with Ben Johnson. It's probably going to be even more true from all reports with John Morton. John Morton, like I've talked about for some time on the show, the Duke Crew's pointed out a number of times, he probably wants to run, from all reports, more of an old school style 70s and 80s pro style offense. What does that mean? You need the run to set up vertical shots down the field. I do believe the Lions are going to be one of the most aggressive downfield passing teams in the league this year. So what do you need? You need guys who can block in the line of scrimmage, block in the run game, block in the pass screen. What does Kenny do? He blocks well. Kyle Allen, 19 career NFL starts. The big question going into last year's playoffs was, hey, why isn't Hendon Hooker out there as far as the number 2 quarterback? Well, what hasn't Hendon Hooker done in his NFL career? He hasn't started an NFL game. Kyle Allen, while I don't think he's going to make the roster ultimately, I do believe, though, that bringing him in with 19 career starts is a contributing factor. Rock Ya-Sing, 10.6% career missed tackle rate. He does tackle pretty dang well. Yes, there are guys that are better than this, but you know what? As far as the value, what you're paying him, and how you're able to acquire him, it's probably one of the biggest reasons you got him. Avion Maddox, 75.9 opposing passer rating in 2024. So in 24, Maddox was targeted 29 times and allowed 15 completions. He allowed 1 touchdown and had 3 pass breakups last season per Pro Football Focus. He's a solid tackler and has shown his 4.8% missed tackle rate last season. 4.8 means he gets the guy, that guy's going down. Either way, again, sort of like with Rock, we point out the value. I think the Lions added a lot of good value here. If you want to check out the story and get more detailed information on each of the players, go ahead and find it. Again, that's on Detroit Lions on SI.com. Christian Boer was the person penning the story. All right, why DJ Reed is the NFL's best free agent signing. Washington Post by Eric Hearn. We kind of already went through this topic, but just, if you guys want, check it out over the weekend or whatever. Washington Post put out a ranking, their top 10 for the best signings in free agency, and it doesn't sound like it was even close. They listed DJ Reed as the number 1 free agent signing for this year's class. There are some people that say that this free agent class hasn't been what it's been in recent years. It's one of the weaker ones. That being said, DJ Reed is still an elite cornerback. And I'm not going to put him in the top 5 or anything like that. But is he somewhere around, say, number 15 to 10 in the NFL? This report would suggest yes. And yes, this report does rank him noticeably higher than Carlton Davis III, who's no longer here. There's a number of metrics that go into why that is. Check out the story if you want the full details. All right. And 2025 NFL mock draft, botched job, how every team messes up their first-round pick. Fanside story by Cody Williams. I only brought this one up because I thought it was actually kind of funny. What could each NFL team do to really just blow up their franchise or whatever, just going unexpected? Maybe that's a better way to word it. Unexpected direction. And I won't go through every team. I'll just point out 1 or 2 here. Tennessee Titans, they go with Abdul Carter. I actually think that's not a bad move. I think he is the best player in this year's draft. And you know what? I'd rather have a strength on one side of the ball than the other side than not have a strength on any side of the ball. Cleveland Browns, they go with Shedeur Sanders. Again, they need a quarterback. This would make a lot of sense to me. I'm not going to go through all of them, but we go down to the Detroit Lions, which would obviously be the focus of this show. And they got offensive lineman Kevin Banks Jr. out of Texas. I'm not upset about this if the Lions go with him. If the Lions went with offensive lineman, especially a guard or interior offensive lineman for their number 28 overall pick, would you be upset? I get we all want an edge rusher, but think about if this guy really is the man, how good that offensive line is going to be going forward. Especially you got Christian Mahogany coming in, going to be in his second year. Now you would have Banks Jr. coming in. Penei Sewell is not old by any stretch. I want to say he's not even 23 yet. So that offensive line starts looking overall pretty dang young. I think often people forget how young Penei Sewell was when he was drafted. He was drafted and he was 19 years old, then started his first NFL game, I think, after he just turned 20. So what would you say about this? Hey, let me know in the comments section. Just put Banks Y or Banks no. Obviously, Y for yes, N for no. Let me know what your thoughts are on that one. Check out that full report, though, because I do think he has a little fun with it, but I also think we've talked about it. This draft overall is pretty deep. Maybe only 5 guys are really stud players. After that, I think you could see a lot of guys could go number 6 or number 32, and you could just kind of fill them in from there, and it wouldn't really affect the draft. All right, next the 5 glorious headlines now. Notes, Sports Illustrated grades Lions free agency. Detroit Lions on SI by John Macaron. Again, not going to spend a lot of time on this. Overall, and this just goes to show how much everybody's opinions can change. One person can view it as one way, another person can view it as something else. We just had a couple of headlines talking about DJ Reed being the best, free agent signing in the entire NFL when it comes to cost, value, production on the field, ability to help out in both phases of the game, stopping the run, defending the pass, and the whole shebang, and being healthy. Now you've got John Macaron, gives the Lions a C- for the grade. Does agree that the biggest addition has been DJ Reed, who projects as an instant starter at cornerback, then kind of throws some shade at a lot of the other picks. Lopez, Davenport, et cetera, just thinks these are kind of ho-hum signings, that the Lions actually went down by not re-signing Carlton Davis. Thinks Davis would have been a better one. It does point out DJ Reed's lack of height or size, whatever. Should not have gotten rid of Zadarius Smith. Again, everybody can have their own opinion. Some will say one thing, some will say another. You want to check out the full story, go ahead and find it online. But they did give the Lions a C-. Let me know. Hey, how about this? Duke Crew, let me know your grade. What do you think the Lions should get for a grade for this offseason? Just put A, B, C, D, F, whatever, Lions grade in the comments section. All right, last of the 5 glorious headlines now. Detroit Lions win total betting line for 2025. Shows high confidence in Detroit staying great. Story by Ryan Love of Lions Wire. Man, that's a great pen name, by the way. Ryan Love. All right, so let's dive into it. ESPN Bet released its odds for 2025 win totals this week, and the Lions were coming in as an over-under of 10.5 wins and a minus 130/100. So whatever that means, I don't know. But I can tell you this, that means the Lions are predicted to win 10.5 games in the upcoming season. Now, last year, we all get it. Lions won 15 games. Guess what the ESPN and other odds makers gave them as far as their win total before the game? 10.5. So I'd say that's pretty good for the Lions, the fact that they won 15 last year and were predicted to win 10.5 games. Well, they were predicted to win 10.5 again this upcoming season. The prediction puts the Lions in a tie for second in the NFC win totals with the San Francisco 49ers, who, despite a rough 2024, bets makers, odds makers, whatever you want to call them, are expecting them to bounce back a wee bit this year. Yes, the Super Bowl champs Philadelphia Eagles hold the best win total in the NFC with 11.5, so one game ahead of Detroit. That 11.5 win total also ties them with the AFC leaders, Bills, Ravens, and Chiefs. So we'll see what shakes out with all that. But hey, now you know at least what Vegas is thinking of the Detroit Lions season. Let's also be fair. Lions win 10, 11, 12 games next year. That's 3 straight seasons where they've won, 10 or more games, 4 straight seasons of 9 or more. You start seeing a pretty good trend here in Detroit. Everybody starts to really struggle to remember, if you're younger, the down day years and decades of the Detroit Lions. All right, with all this done, said, out of the way, I can't wait to read the comment section on this one. Let's get over to the main topic of the day. There once was a man named Jared Goff who was drafted by the LA Rams. And you know what? There were big expectations for this kid. He came in, he looked like Ryan Gosling. People made fun of him. Didn't make fun of his girlfriends, I can say that. Whatever it is, though, he came on in, and the kid had a rookie year. Then he ended up being pretty dang good. Took the Rams to a Super Bowl. And yeah, I'm not here to debate it, but you can look at it 2 ways, Goff's Super Bowl with the Rams. Did he do enough to win because there were 2 drop touchdown passes, or did he do enough to lose because he missed 2 touchdown passes? And that's probably, in a nutshell, Jared Goff's career. People are going to view it one way or the other, but what we can say is Jared Goff has been named the NFL's most under pressure quarterback for the upcoming season. And there's a multitude of reasons that go into this story. Like we just pointed out with this time of the Rams, they totally could have won that Super Bowl. They totally could have lost that Super Bowl, and they did lose the Super Bowl. If one or two of those touchdown passes are held onto, you know what, Goff's legacy is probably completely different. He's probably not traded to Detroit, and this isn't even a debate to this day. But you know what? It is what it is. He missed two guys dropped passes that could have been touchdowns, and the rest is history, as they like to say. Goff's come here, and here's some more stuff for you. As far as NFL records, Goff holds. He has completed 18 of 18 passes for 292 yards and 2 touchdowns, while also adding a 7-yard receiving score. In the Lions' last 6 games, Goff has the highest passer rating in NFL history, currently sitting at 140.1. He is also the only player in the history of the NFL who for 6 straight games has had a completion rate of 72% or higher, a passer rating of 105.0, plus a TD pass. Now, as far as Detroit Lions history, Goff holds the following records for the Detroit Lions. He is the only quarterback to start a game for the Lions since 1975 to currently have a winning record. You know what? That's almost my lifetime. I'm a little bit older than 1975, but you get it. The fact that he's the only one to have done it, that's pretty impressive. He recorded the highest completion percentage and passer rating in any 6-game span in NFL history in 2024. He recorded the most attempts and passing yards in a game without an interception, without an incompletion in NFL history. He has a record of 39, 25, and 1 with the Lions in his career. I mean, that alone should get him a statue. Let's be fair. There ain't no other quarterback any of us have seen out on the field more likely than not. Let me rephrase that. Then 99% of us have seen out there to have that kind of record. He is closing in on the NFL record for most consecutive passes thrown without an interception. He did have a long stretch. I want to say a year or so ago. So we get it. He's got tons of team records. He's got tons of NFL records. And you know what? There are a lot of Lions fans. There are a lot of people across the league that don't love this guy. Thinks he's not very good or whatever. The Lions should move on from him. We've debated this topic, I want to say, man, for a couple of years now. So my thought is, yes, he does have some flaws. Yes, he's not Patty Mahomes. Although if you watch Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl last year, did he look great? No, he didn't. He looked pretty bad in my opinion. And he's had other games like that. The difference is Patrick Mahomes has won some Super Bowls, so you know what? He gets some leeway. Where are you guys with this? We all get it. Goff 2 seasons ago took the Lions within a drop pass of making the Super Bowl. If I'll say it probably to the day I go to my grave. If they hold on to that 4th and 2 pass, they're going to the Super Bowl that year. And whether or not they would have won, I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. But they did drop it last year. You could say the Goff was forcing some things because he had to keep up with the Washington Commanders offense, because I think everybody knew, whether you like Goff or not, I think about everybody knew the Lions did not have anything left on defense, especially when Meek Robinson went down on 30 seconds into the game. You're like, man, who do we even have left on defense? We're going to grab some people out the stands. They have to play pretty quick here. So I do think Goff forced some things, but either way, he shouldn't have done that. He didn't play his greatest game. Yes, he got his bell rung. Yes, he probably played concussed. And you know what? He still scored 30 some odd points, lost by 6, had everything in the world go against you. If the Lions would have won that game, then you know what? I think most fans would have probably backed off Goff, but they didn't win that game. So 2 years ago, you have a real good run, nearly make the Super Bowl. Last year, you're 1 and done in the playoffs. What say you do, crew? If Jared Goff, I guess it has to be asked for today's show, if Jared Goff and the Lions struggle this year, let's say they don't win the division, let's say they go 1 and done in the playoffs, what are your thoughts on them? Now, if Goff goes out there and the Lions, make it to the NFC title game, is that going to be enough for you? If they make it to the Super Bowl, I'm going to guess that everybody's like, man, Jared Goff is right as rain. But this is such a divisive topic, and I feel like it comes up probably a couple times every week. Somebody's going to throw a stone at him. Somebody's going to sing his praises. Well, this is definitely the show to do whatever you want to do with it, because NFL GMs have named him as the most under pressure guy or quarterback for 2026. Do you agree with that? I'm going to guess every quarterback worth their salt is probably under pressure, but is Goff more so than everybody else? Hey, this is your show to talk about it. So we've got about 10 minutes till Kurt the Hitman Steele jumps on. I want to hear what you guys have to say about this topic. You can be team Goff. You can be team anti-Goff. Just whatever you do, be respectful of each other. I get this is going to be a hot topic, so don't talk poorly about anybody or take anything personal one way or the other. All right, JDC, morning all. Back at you. Trey Forts rocks, and he's going to roll all up and down those sidelines. Drake, what do you got? Oh, this is going to be a hot topic today. Laughing out loud. Can't wait to see the fire for this one. Yeah, I'm guessing there'll be a little bit. JDC, Drake, yep. Should be a doozy of a topic. I'll go with that. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. I can hear Coach saying, oh boy, here we go. A lot today. I'm team Goff, but he does need to rebound from the Washington game. I'd say that's fair. He's got to come out and play better than he did that game. And again, we've already gone through the laundry list of why maybe he didn't have his best game. Some things that went against him. I'll probably say this to the end of time. If the defense isn't so beat up, or just if the defense is pretty healthy, I do think the Lions win that game against Washington. I do think they would have beat Philadelphia, and I do believe they would have been the Super Bowl. But the defense wasn't healthy, and that caused other things. Cause and effect situation. Pierce, both sides of this have a lot to say. I would concur with that. Pierce, Stephanie, he should have been pulled. He was clearly concussed, and I still believe it wasn't fair to ask the offense to drop 50 every week when the defense could not stop a coach. No, I agree with you, and that's what I was just saying. If the defense, like if Hutchinson and Ali McNeil, if those two alone aren't hurt or out for the season, I think we probably limit Washington. I think both of them on the field are probably worth at least 7 points, which obviously wins us the game. I also think it takes some pressure and anxiety off everyone on the offensive side of the ball, not just go off the offensive line, because let's be fair, the offensive line did not play great that game, and most of that is going to be Graham Glasgow, but didn't play great. David Montgomery, in my opinion, should not have started that game. Why you put him in as the starter? I would love to hear the wisdom behind it, because he just missed whatever it was, a month or whatever the season. Gibbs in no way, shape, or form was slow at all, so why are you switching things up, especially in the biggest game of the year for you? I don't know. Right, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Under pressure, question mark? No problem. Goff's dealt with pressure his whole career. He'll be fine. Oh, yeah, and I agree. I would agree. Ever since his rookie year, it just feels like there's been building and building and building pressure on him, and I think you're right. He's learned to probably just tune it out. JDC, I'll practice Steph. Oh, boy, here we go. There we go. Hardy, of course, he is under pressure. The Lions have never been or won a Super Bowl. Pressure makes diamonds, plus he excels under pressure. I will go with that, and thank you for that, Hardy. Clark, not surprised by this. I didn't want Goff to be resigned until after the season. I think he's an average quarterback with a lot of talent around him. We should have signed Mayfield. I can remember, oh gosh, what's his name? Skip Bayless. When Mayfield wasn't re-signed by the Rams, that he wanted him to come on over to Detroit, thought it would have been a good fit. And you know what? I've got nothing bad to say about Baker Mayfield or maybe some other options. They went with Goff. Obviously, they believe in Goff. And you know what? He's our quarterback. That's who I'm going to ride with. Mayfield would have added a little bit more, I guess you could say, athleticism to the quarterback position. But would he have had better numbers? That's the other part. Mayfield, he's had some down moments. He's had some good moments. And I think you're kind of in the same boat to a certain degree. Pierce Clark Griswold, see how he does without Liam Cohen. We'll find out. Big Eddie, raised sanitations. Goff has played very well at times, while at other moments he's looked lost. Not the guy I would have given the bag to. He's good enough. It's not easy to replace him. Yeah, and to a degree, I think that's, Eddie, I think you just described probably the vast majority of NFL quarterbacks. There's really only 2 or 3, maybe 4 elite quarterbacks that can go to any team, run any system, and look great. But we were just talking about, Patrick Mahomes, I think widely considered the greatest quarterback in the NFL right now. And yet, look at him in the Super Bowl. Even against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the Super Bowl, teams can get to him and rattle him and make him look pretty bad. He did not look great this past Super Bowl. JC, my tires are under pressure. There you go. Hey, Pierce, I have said this before, and I will say it again. Much easier to get worse at quarterback than get better. Yes, that's where I fully agree with 100%. Everybody can say it's time to move off this guy, but who are you going to bring in who's better? And that's the question I often throw out at everyone in the Duke Crew comment section, and I don't ever get responses. So if you guys have ideas who you could move on to that would be clearly better, who's going to be better, let me know. Let's see. Henry Moore, good morning. Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. What a team. What a podcast. Thank you for that. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! And back at you. Alrighty. In the game against Washington, they should have gone with Gibbs to start. I agree with that 100%. I do not know yet to this day why they didn't. Not had an empty backfield on third down. I always agree with that. They played from behind because the defense and scored enough to win. 31 points. Yeah, I agreed with that 100%. A lot of good questions there. I know that's also a lightning rod topic because so many of us will go, man, did Ben Johnson have the fix in? There's some debate for that. JC, one game, one play at a time. Go Lions. Yes, that's some real coach speak right there. Hey, Vape. Hey, talk about somebody I haven't seen in a minute. Good to see you, my friend. Goff is good. Yes, he is. Yes, he is indeed. Silver Surfer. Good morning, Coach and everyone. Back at you. Let's see what you have to say about today, Surfer. Trey, what's good, Duke Crew? Question mark. Goff is fine. We came within a drop fourth down pass of the Super Bowl. Yeah, and Josh Reynolds just signed with somebody, by the way, but I didn't put it in the 5 headlines. With him last year against Washington, we had no D, and he got his head taken off. We'll be fine. Yeah, I would agree on all the above. Brad Big Eddie, that's where I'm at with JG. He's pretty good, but has enough what the heck in him where you could consider looking around. All right, if you're going to consider moving on, who do you bring in that you know is better? Detroit D, greetings, salutations to the Duke Crew, and back at you, D. How you doing today, my friend? Hookadoo, Goff took the Lions to a 15-2 record season. That Washington game, anybody tell me Ben Johnson didn't throw that game? He smiled after Goff took the illegal hit. And there's that too. And, I know I've talked about it before on the show. We've talked about it. If you want to know why I think Dan Campbell will be a little bit more involved with John Morton as the OC on play calling, go back, rewatch the game, watch the All 32, the coaching film, and watch when some of the trick plays or whatever are called, watch Dan Campbell's body language. He is clearly less than happy about some of those play calls, and that's why I do think he said he would be more involved with the new OC on certain things. Detroit D, I disagree. He has no more pressure than any other top 5 quarterback. Yeah. If you're one of those guys, I'll even say this, D. If you're a top 10 quarterback, if your team has expectations of the postseason and doing something, you've got pressure on you. Pierce, Hookadoo, didn't we learn on this show Ben Johnson is under investigation for claims of throwing the game? He was, I want to say it was like a month and a half ago or something like that the NFL did look into him about, I don't remember all of it, but something about along those lines for sure. Susan, good morning. Here comes the Start Hooker Crew. Could be. Silver Server, you try to score 40 points a game because the defense can't stop the opponent. We got spoiled thinking it was normal. Ask Scott Mitchell or Joey Harrington to do that. Thanks for all those third downs. Jared Goff. Yeah, 100%. Nice throw in there with Joey Harrington and Scotty Mitchell. Coach Rock, good morning. Only thing I would like Goff to improve is just being able to scramble for a few more yards. So work on your footwork and also keep out of the way when you throw a pick your target. Yeah, don't allow that to happen again. To your point, I know a season ago he was working on moving in the pocket and stuff, extending plays, and I do think you could see the results of that last year. Can he improve upon it even more this year? I guess we'll wait and see. All right, Detroit D, keep the pressure out of his face, and he may be the most accurate passer in the game today. Yeah, at the end of the day, scrambling, everything's fine. There's nothing wrong with having that. You still have to be able to throw the football, and you can be on either side of the scrambling quarterback debate. It's either a big plus, or it's not. I don't know, man. I just say the more you can do, the better. So sort of like Rock was saying to other people, maybe you can keep building that up. All right, guys, it is 7:30 or halfway through the show if you're watching this on the non-live. So let's go ahead and get over to our special guest of the day. You guys know him. You love him. He is the host with the most. He is the man with the plan, the boss up, ball out host. Kurt Steele, what are your thoughts on this great debate today?
Okay, I'm not wearing my JG jersey for nothing, man. To say that the Lions should have waited to sign Jared Goff to his extension is absolutely asinine, in my opinion. They signed him at the right time, just because of the fact you look at how the market was reset this year. You look at the contract of the MVP Josh Allen, man. The quarterback market is going to get more and more expensive. So you do it at a time where you can keep him on the contract. You make it a deal, kind of like Patrick Mahomes, where you can actually have flexibility to change the numbers and get cap space and things of that nature. But I don't understand the thinking of why would you want to delay signing him. He is your quarterback for the foreseeable future. He's really just entering into his prime as a NFL quarterback. Just hitting 30 years old. That's when a lot of quarterbacks start to hit their prime as far as the intelligence of playing the position. So I don't get the fact that somebody will want the Lions to wait to sign him. I mean, it's just going to get more and more expensive if you wait to sign a player like Jared Goff. So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I just don't. The thinking is just terrible for me. And I put this stat up the other day. And I saw it and I was like, interesting. Who is the quarterback who has led the NFL passing touchdowns since 2022? Last 3 seasons, Jared Goff. So, yeah, you can miss me with all that, man. And you think about this. The guy has had since that first year in Detroit, he's had 3 winning seasons and they got better ever since. So, yeah, you can miss me with that one.
Yeah, in that first season, let's also be fair to Goff and Dan Campbell and everybody else who's still with the team that was on that first year team. There just wasn't any talent on that team.
That team was absolutely horrible. It just was.
So let's talk about it. Why do you think there's such a division amongst fans? I mean, there are clearly some that love Jared Goff. You hear the chants and everything. Then you got some other people that are like, he's a bum. Why do you think he is so divisive to fans?
I think that they're still comparing him to the previous guy. They're comparing arm talent. They're still comparing him to Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's accurate. And he knows how to play to his strength. He knows he doesn't have the biggest arm, but he knows how to utilize his talents to the best of his ability. So to say that, and he's taken us farther than any quarterback we've had, including Matthew Stafford, in recent history. So I mean, you're just going to have some people who long for the past and they see Matthew Stafford going out there and winning his ring in LA. And they just like, well, he didn't do that here. Well, Matthew Stafford never won a playoff game till he got to LA. I mean,
that's true.
So yeah. I'm not saying I love Jared Goff. I just say I believe in him. And I'm my man, Lauren Vander Esch, Michigan Panthers pride, blessed me with this Jared Goff jersey. And I love it, man. And I'm rocking it. And this was the jersey I didn't have. And I believe in Jared Goff, man. Every quarterback makes mistakes. Look at every quarterback throws. Look how many interceptions Patrick Mahomes threw last year. And he still was up there in the MVP category. So yeah, man, it just happens, man.
So here's a question I often ask on this show, because there are some fans that say, hey, we should have, signed somebody else, or we should go in a different direction. I always ask, if we're going to go in a different direction for a quarterback, who do you know is clearly better? In your opinion, if, hypothetically, if the Lions were to go out and say, hey, we're moving off Goff today, who would they have to bring in that would, ascend and make the position better?
I have no clue. Because I don't know who will be available. Like that, you talking about a top-notch quarterback. Yeah. I don't know who's available to come in and run this system the way that Jared Goff does. I mean, I don't know. Would you bring back Matthew Stafford? That's probably about the only guy that I could see that can run it just as well as he does, because the systems aren't that off from what they run out there in LA as far as the motions and things of that nature. I mean, and the reads. So, yeah, I mean, like, and Brad Holmes has said it. You've said it on this show. It's easier to get worse at quarterback than it is to get better at quarterback. And trading away a guy like Jared Goff or getting rid of him or releasing him, yeah, it's just a tough pill to swallow. I mean, like you have your quarterback of the future and of the present on your roster. I don't see them getting off of him anytime soon.
With John Morton coming in this year, we talked about it a little bit in the today's show. We've talked about it on other ones. What are some of your expectations for the offense and what he's going to do differently with Goff than perhaps Ben Johnson?
More shots down the field. I just think that it's going to be more shots. It's going to be less trick plays. You won't see a whole bunch of razzle dazzle. You'll see some pounding the rock, and I think they stick with the play action. I just think that that's one thing. But you have to, and I've said this before, just because John Morton's blueprint is what Ben Johnson was running in Detroit. He just added his own flair to it. So you look at that. Why would you switch to make it so much different? He add his own. John Morton's going to add his own fingerprints to this, but it's going to go back to the basics of what he envisions this offense to be. And I think he's going to have some autonomy from Dan Campbell, but Dan Campbell's going to have his footprint on this as well. There's going to be a lot of running that ball. It's going to be banging out that offensive line, some play action, and he's going to mix some D shots down the field. So be prepared to see my man Waymo going to have he's going to have a big season under John Morton.
I agree with you. I think they're going to go, and I use this all the time, like 80s, 70s style Raiders football, two guys streaking down the sidelines, everybody else crossing over the middle and running backs, running wild. It has been debated on this show, and I think you've made some comments on it as well. How good, from a depth standpoint, will this upcoming year's team be, in your opinion?
The Lions will be deeper than they were. It's going to be similar to what they had last year. It's going to be a really deep team. And you look at what the moves they made this offseason, where they're bringing back the guys that prove that they could be depth players last year and what they could produce. You have a guy like coming back like Pat O'Connor and Miles Adams and those guys. And then bringing back those guys, it's going to be difficult for Brad Holmes to bring in multiple starters in the draft this year.
Right.
It just is, because you're bringing back 20 or 22 starters from last season. I've said this before. Only guys that are not on the roster that was starters at the season last year are Kevin Zeitler and Carlton Davis. All the other starters from last year's team that started the season as starters are still on the roster.
So the draft is less than 30 days away from now. We're all going to get more and more information, mock draft this, trade that. Lions are going to trade up. They're going to trade back. They're going to trade sideways. I don't know. They're going to trade with themselves. At the end of the day, what's your best guess the Lions do in the first and second round as far as do they trade, do they not? And who do you believe they're going to target?
I don't know particularly who they were going to target, but I do positions they're going to target. They're going to target a defensive end. They're going to move up to grab a guy. One thing I will say about that is there are going to be a lot of people that's going to be mad about who Brad Holmes select in the first round if it's a defensive end. Why? Just because of the fact that Brad Holmes drafts scheme and team, right? So he had to fit the scheme and they got to fit the culture of the team. And the Lions play a 4-3 base defense. What does that mean? Bigger defensive ends. Right. All these guys that are getting mocked to the Lions are hybrid outside linebackers that play in the 3-4, or they're Sam linebackers like a James Pierce or a Mike Green. These guys are smaller. They're tall, but they're smaller framed guys. A guy like James Pierce would have to put on about 20 pounds, 15 to 20 pounds to play defensive end in Detroit. And the same thing will go with Mike Green. These guys are slider frame players. They're going to have to beef up. Now, I will say this. their bodies haven't matured yet. They haven't reached that maturity level where their body will fill out. They're still in their, early 20s. So they're going to have a chance to kind of fill out their frame. But they have a guy who's 6'2", 6'1", that's 245 pounds that can play outside linebacker and play the same position. And that's Derek Barnes. They just signed him to a 3-year, $25 million deal. Why would you draft a guy that's like him to play defensive end? We're facing some big time tackles in our division alone. Why would you draft a guy that's smaller to play defensive end in Detroit? You see, they passed on Landry, Azeez Ojulari, all those smaller defensive ends. The Lions have passed on them. Excuse me. So there's going to be some people that's going to be pissed off because they didn't go after the big name, and it's just going to be Brad Holmes doesn't care about your mock draft. He don't care who you think he should pick. He's going to pick the guy who fits the scheme and fit the culture in Detroit.
All right. So there have been some speculation in a few mock drafts that the Lions could sit at 28 and take, I think his name is Malik Starks. I don't have it in front of me, a safety, and I get kids crazy good, etc. Do you see a scenario where that goes down and the Lions play with 3 safeties out on the field?
It's possible. You look at Brad Holmes is known to take the best player available. It may not be a position of need. You look at, and I talked about this today, so go check out my LNU video dropping today. You look at Jahmyr Gibbs, right? Jahmyr Gibbs was not a position of need, but he was a targeted player, and he was the best player available for the Lions on the draft board, because we got to remember they still had DeAndre Swift, and they had just signed David Montgomery, but they couldn't let that guy off the draft board, so they went with him. And you look at a guy like Starks, man, good player, and whether the Lions could bring him in and still address the defensive end position in the second or third round. It's the same with the offensive lineman. So it is possible that he does that. I'm not sure that he will do that, but it gives the Lions more flexibility on the roster. You can bring in, pull down the big time playmaker Brian Branch down there into coverage in a nickel position, and that helps if they go dime, which they did very little last year. We don't know what Kelvin Shepard's going to do with that, but it does bring more depth to that position. And to be honest with you, if a guy like Kirby Joseph goes down or Brian Branch goes down, we're not very deep at safety. So I can see where we can add some more talent at that position.
So with the Lions this offseason, we've had some free agent moves. I get fans for the most part haven't been blown away by them because they've been kind of budget Brad moves, etc. There was a report that I had in the 5 headlines now that I think it was by the Washington Post that said the Lions had the best free agency of any team in the league. What are your thoughts on what we've done so far, at least with free agency?
I think it has more to do with the continuity. You have a 15-2 team that really just stayed the course. I mean, you brought back most of the guys that were part of that team, and you're going to get healthy guys back. So there was not a lot of need to turn over the roster completely with free agents, excuse me.
You're fine, man. You're fine. All right. Why don't you go ahead and tell us about where we can find you when the show's over, and all your great work. Tell us about your hosting shows, everything else that you do, and how people can come support you.
All right, so to my man Brett DeWitt, you can find me over at the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. No live show today, but I am dropping a video today for LNU, for Lions Nation Unite. I collaborate with those guys over there, so make sure you check me out. We're gonna do not a community. We're gonna do our collaborative mock draft on Monday. So make sure you tune in and check it out over that, or at the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. Is gonna be Coach Jones, LL, and myself doing our first collaborative mock draft as a show, and come check it out, man. You're probably gonna be a little bit surprised of who we pick and who we look at bringing in for the Detroit Lions. And of course, like I say, man, Brad Holmes can give 2 tiny rats behinds about our mock draft, but we're gonna have some fun doing it, man. He said it before, man. He doesn't care about your mock draft, man. For Lions fans, I'd say be prepared to be disappointed about who he picks or whatever's going to happen in the draft. But know that he has the franchise's best interest at hand. And that's the video I drop in today. It's about Brad Holmes' draft strategy. So make sure you check it out over on Lions Nation Unite. It will be dropping probably this afternoon. So make sure you check it out.
All right. So what you're saying is we've got Kurt Steele is predicting the Lions are going to take a punter in the first round. No. All right.
Oh, man. Long snapper.
Long snapper. There you go. All right, guys. Wouldn't go over and support Kurt Steele and the Boss Up Ball Out podcast. He does great work. And Kurt, as always, thanks for hopping on today. We'll take care and we'll check you out on the next one, my friend.
Man, thanks for having me. And what up, No Do Crew? We'll talk to you guys later.
See you, Kurt. All right, let's get back to you guys in the comment section. Rick in the Mint, give Goff time in the pocket. He's better than most. I'll go with that. T-Bones Lokes, wide to Banks. Thank you for that. Don Kong, Brad Holmes is the best GM ever! Exclamation point. He's awesome. I concur. JDC getting real in the D. Go Lions. Frank the Tank. Detroit Lions are going 13-4, and I really don't see them losing 4 games. Go Lions. I'll go. Yeah, I think they're. And I know Kurt just talked about it. They re-signed basically everybody from last year's team. Last year's team played half the year with basically, a patchwork defense, and you still won 15 games. Imagine if those injuries didn't happen, how good they could have been. Could they have won one more game? Maybe they would have won 16 or so. Whatever it is what it is. And I do think by having all those guys back and another rookie class, you know what? This team could be pretty scary good. All right, Hookadoo. Stafford would never be expected back in Detroit, not by me at least, back in Detroit at least. T-Bones, Goff had a very good game with a ton of pressure. I can't recall the game. I don't blame him at all for the Washington game. He's good enough to win a Super Bowl. I agree with all of the above. And the fact that he was able to, I'll point this out to him. While every player, every athlete has moments where you're like, man, what the heck is going on there? I mean, that's part of being human, right? Remember down in Houston when he had 5 interceptions on the first 2 drives of the game or whatever it was. And the fact he was able to shrug that off, lead the team back and get the win, I think that speaks a lot of volumes about his mental wherewithal. Nick, woo! Yes, aggressive is good. I like aggressive. Michigan Panther Pride football is back, baby! Exclamation point. 8 p.m. tonight on Fox. Had to jump in and let y'all know. Back to vacation. Take care all. All right, we'll make sure we check it out and enjoy the vacation, my friend. Super Bowl Wilson, we're drafting McCall Williams. Could be. JDC, go Lions, go Tigers. I like it. I talked to Brad. Thank you for getting us that inside information. Hookadoo, I'll watch it for it tonight. Michigan Panther Pride. Hookadoo, thumbs up. Shane, when does the Michigan Panthers start? It sounds like tonight, I think. Nick, why? Walt, good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke crew. Woo! And back at you. Miles Margaret, 8 p.m. Gotcha, Michigan Panther Pride. DM5 TV. If we had let Goff walk and save that money, we could have invested in the defense and brought in the game manager. We still have JMO, Gibbs, St. Brown, Laporta. Imagine those pieces with a mobile quarterback. Yeah, DM5, I get that, but who would that quarterback be that we know could do a better job? That's my question, man. Brent, Panthers play Sunday. Okay, thank you for that, Brent. Thank you very much. Hookadoo, Shane Smith tonight at 8 on Fox. All right, Shane, thanks. Mr. Ed, who is the best offensive lineman in the draft, and is he a first-round pick? There are some first-round picks, I think, on the offensive line. Who's the best? Man, I think that's pretty debatable. Walt, hit that thumbs up button for Dan and the Duke crew. Woo! Yeah, if you guys can, hit the like, subscribe, all the buttons, por favor. Miles Margaret, thank you. Kurt, Brent, thanks, Kurt. Frank Tank, Ben Johnson did not throw the Washington game. We got beat. We were hurt. Why would he come back this year? Throw a game. Y'all need to come up with something else. Go Lions. All right. Thank you for that for Frank Tank. Okay, thanks, Kurt. Brian, Tigers blew it. Let's give this guy with 33 home runs a pitch right down the pipe. First pitch, 3-run homer. Scooble, you were not good yesterday. All right. Thank you. Egon Goff got a helmet jammed into his chin on that pick 6 play. He played the rest of the game hurt. I would agree with that. And, yeah, I get the NFL admits they missed it. I'm just not sure how the officials missed that, because who is the one player in the field you're supposed to pay attention to 100% of the time? It's the quarterback. Let's see. Mr. Ed Goff had a good chance of winning his 3rd division title in a row, and that makes him the best Lions quarterback in history. Yeah, at least since the 50s, right? 100%. Kim, the whole team was off from the Commanders game. Keep in mind, Benedict was checked out, but he loves head games. That could be true on all counts. Silver Surfer is going to take adjusting. Too many new faces. Lions, if fairly healthy, go 11-6 and steamroll through the playoffs. I'll take that, man. Win throughout the playoffs, go undefeated. I think we'll all be happy. JDC, happy trails. Go Lions victory. Thank you for that. Nick, B+. All right, thank you, Nick. Thank you very much. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and get you ready for the rest of your day. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. If you would be so kind before checking out, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit all the buttons. Be a good human being. Hold on, a vape. I like golf just fine, even though he doesn't have a arm too short. I can't wait to watch Hooker because he has a cannon for an arm. He does have a big arm. Todd, Goff is best quarterback Lions have ever had. Yes, concurred. Andrew, scuba fastball was finding too much of the plate, but it's all good. He'll be better. Yeah, I think so. It's early in the season. Ed, happy trails. See you next time. Brent, UFL kickoff weekend on Friday, March 28th, as the St. Louis Battle Hawks visit the Houston Roughnecks. All right, Phil, good job, chat. 100%. Yeah, didn't get out of hand at all like I was fearing. Mountain Spider, one pride. All right, be a good human being. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. And you know what? We'll see you all on the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, all.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Of Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?